This is a video of my Thomas Wooden Railway collection, so please enjoy. Here's Thomas, Edward. I can't do the video like this. Can I make this more interesting? Yep, today I'm giving you a Thomas Wooden Railway collection video, but I'm not doing it in this style because it's kind of boring when you're actually making a video. It's somewhat entertaining to watch the first 500 times, but it's really boring to make a collection video like this, so I'm gonna do something more interesting instead. Alright, let's start the collection off with Thomas, of course, and here is the first Thomas that we'll be looking at, because I'm gonna go in release date order, or at least as best as I can. This is a 1994 Thomas. You can tell because of his absolutely massive pupils. No, I don't know why they decided to do this. He looks freakish like that. But yeah, 94 era Thomas. So, man, these wheels need to be cleaned. Can't really see it, but it is 1994. He is a bit beat up, but he's cool. I'm happy to have him. I got him at a thrift store with a soda line caboose and Bertram. That's all I have to say about him, really. Next we have this 1986 Thomas, who his pupils are kind of basically gone, but his paint is somewhat still there. He used to be owned by someone named Owen. Kind of like 1994 Thomas, I don't really have a lot to say. I got him at a thrift store with another Thomas, Harvey, Coco, a barrel car, and some off-brand track. I'm just happy to have another early era Thomas in my collection. Here's a 1997 Thomas. This one has incredibly beat up paintwork, as you can no doubt tell, especially on that side, but his face is relatively intact still. This came in the same grab bag at a thrift store with the 1996 Thomas, and just like him, I'm happy to have him, but I don't have a lot to say about him. Here is a 2003 era Thomas. Specifically, this one is from 2010. How do I know that? Because I bought him brand new and opened him. He is in very good condition, being that I bought him brand new and opened him. There's only really that one scratch to the paintwork on that side, and otherwise he is looking very nice. I bought this one brand new on eBay because it was really cheap. Or it was, you know, a reasonable price, rather, for something like this. This is going to be the main Thomas that I use if I decide to include Wooden Railway within Z-Man and Friends. And if I decide to use him for my retro style Wooden Railway videos. And here is a 2013 Thomas. He is in decent shape. I got him in a grab bag at a different thrift store with a 2013 Percy and a 2013 James without a tender. He's not too abused. He is looking pretty nice. If I take a Wooden Railway Thomas to like events or just to take photos with for photography stuff, this is more than likely the Thomas I will take, just because he's, you know, I don't really use him for a lot else, but he looks really nice for photos. That's all I really have to say about him. Okay, and now we get on to all of my extra Thomases. This encompasses variants of Thomas and duplicates. So we'll start out with, whoa, my childhood Thomas. This one is pretty abused, and he's got a lot of Sharpie all over him to add other details and put his eyebrows back on. He is one of the few survivors of when I had to give up the majority of my wooden railway collection because my mom wanted me to sell off a bunch of stuff. And I regret the wooden railway sale because I had a really cool Brio double track bridge that was really cool looking, and it would have been great for my current collection, but alas, I do not have it anymore. Here's another 2003 era Thomas. This one is in decent shape. He's got edge wear all over him, and his eyebrows are basically gone, but otherwise he's in nice condition. This is sort of my stunt double Thomas. It's also just a backup Thomas for if I want to record less serious content. So, yeah. I guess this one fits, considering I'm recording this in 2025 during the 80th anniversary of Thomas. This is the Happy Birthday Thomas. I got him on eBay with his Happy Birthday boxcar, and overall he's in pretty good condition. His eyebrows aren't really messed up, and there's not a whole lot of paint deterioration. It's really only at the back and on the cab roof. He's a really fun celebratory Thomas variant, and I'm really happy to have him. This one also fits when I'm recording because it is currently December, often a very snowy area in America. This is the Winter Wonderland Thomas. I genuinely do not remember how this one got into my collection. I get the feeling it was a Train and Home Media bonus pack that they used to do, but I do not remember. He's got Sharpied on details like snowflakes on the sides and whistles and buffers and a tail lamp, but overall he's in pretty nice shape. I'm very happy to have him in the collection. He's very nice to have for winter stories and just the winter season in general. So here is a pretty beaten up Thomas. This is a talking Thomas, or at least I assume. His chassis is so abused from play that there's nothing on the bottom anymore, so I can't read what this Thomas is. But as you can tell, he's definitely been played with. He's got a lot of paint missing. He also doesn't work, and I did try different batteries that are working. He doesn't work. But he's cool to have in the collection regardless. Yes, it's the only talking Thomas I have, and it's therefore the only Thomas with a lamp that I have at the moment. This Thomas will light the way for sure. It's the Light Up Reveal Thomas. This was, I'm pretty sure, the very last purchase I made at Toys R Us before it closed. Back in like 2017, 2018, I think that's when it was. I don't remember, please forgive me. But yeah, he still works really well. It takes a little bit of rolling around for the light to activate, but yeah, he still works really well. He also has extra Sharpie details like a lot of my older wooden railway stuff. But yeah, he's really cool. I'm very happy to have him. And last but not least, my only Thomas from the 2022 revival of Wooden Railway. This one in particular is the Day Out with Thomas 2022 Thomas. I bought him brand new at the Day Out with Thomas 2025, and he hasn't really seen a whole lot of use. He's just a nice little collectible item, I think. Mine also has a face that's been painted on a little too low. So yeah, but I really like how this guy looks. I love his multicolored wheels. They're really cool looking, honestly. But yeah, he is really cool, and I'm happy to have a Day Out with Thomas item in the collection. Alright, that's all my Thomases in the collection, so let's move on to other characters. Here is Edward. This is... actually, let me look. This is a 2001 Edward paired with a 2003 Tender, and you can tell because of the typeface used to write the name on the bottom. I sought out this Edward in particular because even though the older wooden railway models are a lot more simplistic looking, I prefer the faces on Edward and Gordon's 1990s models compared to their 2002 redesigns, as to me, their old faces look a lot more like the characters. So that's why I sought out a older style Edward. He's in decent shape. There's some dents in his boiler, and there's a lot of edge wear around his cab and some edge wear on the Tender. But overall, apart from that and the marks on his face, he's in pretty decent shape. I'm very happy to finally have the engine who started it all in my collection. Here comes an enterprising engine. It's Henry. This Henry is a 2002 Henry. Yes, the very year that he was redesigned alongside basically the entire wooden railway range. This one I got at a thrift store with one part of Douglas, a Destination, 2 pieces of Trackmaster rolling stock, and the Engine Friends DVD for a grand total of $11. It was a very nice find that day. Henry's doing alright. He's in decent shape. The only things I can see are a bit of wear on his chassis, some edge wear on his cab roof, on the back of the Tender, and a little bit at the front. But overall, Henry is doing very well. That's all I really have to say about Henry, so on to the next character. He's big, blue, strong, and proud. It's Gordon. This is, I believe, a 1999 Gordon paired with a 2000 Tender. And like with Edward, I sought out this version of Gordon as I think the face looks a lot more like Gordon to me, as opposed to the 2002 version. Gordon's doing pretty alright. There's not a ton of edge wear on the locomotive half. There is quite a bit on the Tender. In fact, the biggest problem with Gordon is that he needs to be cleaned both there on his running plate and especially on his wheels. He needs a wash down. But I'm very happy to have Gordon in the collection. Since when I was younger, I never got to own any Tender engines. Not a single one. Which was sad, because they're really cool to own. But yeah, there's Gordon, off to collect the Express. So here we got some blue guy that goes fast. I don't remember his name. Take a look who's coming down the track. Make way for James. Hooray for James. This is a 2003 era James that I got off eBay alongside a extra baggage car. This James is actually in pretty good shape. There's just some edge wear and his eyebrows have rubbed off. I Sharpied front buffers on him, but I didn't do that on the Tender. I don't know. But yeah, James is one of my favorite characters, so I'm very happy to have him. And to hear the sounds that the engines make. As here we have the Lights and Sounds James from 2005. I got this guy at an antique mall. He's in really good shape for where I found him and how old he is. There's very little like paint chips or anything on him. Just some stuff on this side and practically nothing on his tender. And as you heard, he still works, including his lamp. I've wanted the Lights and Sounds trio ever since I saw the old Trains Galore video on them. And now I finally have one, and it's of one of my favorite characters. Hopefully I can get to use this James a lot more in future. But he is a bit noisy, and unfortunately storing him upright causes the sounds to activate, so yeah. Off we go, James. And the last James in my roster is this tenderless 2013 James. Like Thomas, he's in pretty decent shape. Just some edge wear, some stuff on the cab roof, and his eyebrows are starting to rub off. And the only problem is that he doesn't have a tender. And obviously a larger engine like James can't run without his tender. So until I find one for him, this 2013 James will be out of action. But he's still really nice to have in the collection. Honestly, the Mattel engines aren't even that bad. They look different, yeah, but they're still pretty good. Here we got Haru. He's small, green, and kind. Here's Percy. This is a 2002-2003 era Percy that I got at the same antique mall I got the Lights and Sounds James. He is in okay condition. His front is a little dented on the wood side, and there's quite a bit of edge wear that it seems like someone tried to touch up with markers. And his eyebrow is gone, but he's actually doing alright, and I honestly don't really mind some of the play damage he's gotten. It shows that this item was cared about and played with, as opposed to just sitting on a shelf. But yeah, there's Percy. Here's another Percy. This is the Talking Railway Series Percy, as we can see by the markings on the underside with the little engine and radio frequency signal, and the golden magnets. This Percy communicates via the radio frequencies, presumably in the magnets, to Talking Railway Series destinations that allow Sir Topham Hatt to recognize the engines by name and tell them stuff. Like, Percy, you must go slowly in Morgan's mine. Rosie, Cranky is ready to load the cargo. Stuff like that. Tell me how good of an impression of Robin Smith's Sir Topham Hatt I do in the comments. I want to know. But yeah, he's in alright shape. I kind of threw him around outside a lot while recording very not serious videos, so he's gotten a bit of abuse and wear from that, but overall he's not doing that bad. I'll probably use him as a backup Percy if I have to. It's so cold that Percy is frozen over. This is the Jack Frost Percy, or Scary Jack Frost. I had to. This is honestly a really nice model. It recreates how Percy looks in the episode really nicely. He's so sad. Mine, I believe the icicle bits have melted, or not melted, they've discolored in the sun quite a bit, and also on this side, somewhere. I thought it was on this side, hold on. Yeah, right there. The rubber piece around his face is actually starting to crack a little bit. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I think it's a really cool looking model. It definitely fits the winter season, and it's a really accurate conversion of what the episode looked like. He is also one of the only survivors of my childhood Wooden Railway collection. And speaking of the winter time, here's Snowplow Percy, or Snow-Covered Percy, which is the official name. This was only released in one set that I don't remember the name of, and I think it was only released between 2010 and 2012. I'll show you the set he was released in and what years it was released in on screen, so you know what I'm talking about and I can correct myself. I bought this off eBay for around $20, which is a really great price, considering that he should not cost almost $60 like some people want to sell him for, e.g. trains. And he's not in that bad shape. Just some edge wear at the back, the previous owner's name on the back of the cab, or on the back of the coal bunker. And his eyebrows are basically gone, alongside the ever prominent paint chip at the front of the snowplow. But he's doing alright, and I'm really happy to have him, because now him and Thomas can match. And here's one last Percy for the collection. This is the 2013 Mattel Percy that I was talking about earlier. He is also in really nice shape. Again, just some edge wear at the back and a little bit at the front. I think one of his eyebrows is starting to rub off, but I can't really tell. I really like how Mattel actually changed the color of Percy's plastic dome piece, because on older Percy models, it's green. But I believe his water filling cap is green, and his dome is gold, which makes the 2013 Percy actually a little more accurate. But yeah, he's a nice one to have in the collection, and I don't really have much else to say about him. The world's much nicer whenever we see him. It's Toby, the tram engine. I believe this Toby is a survivor from my childhood Wooden Railway collection, but at this point I honestly don't remember. This Toby has a lot of paint wear around his roof, but otherwise he's in pretty good shape. The only things that I really have to say about him are about the Sharpie details, the buffers, the roof detailing, which Mattel actually improved because they put his funnel here as a plastic piece when they updated him. And his side plates are blue, like in the Railway series. Although that is starting to fade, so he'll probably return to a TV series Toby. But yeah, there's Toby. There are two ways of doing things, the Great Western Way or the wrong way. Here's Duck, the Great Western engine. I got him off eBay quite a while ago for a reasonable price. It appears he is a 2002-2003 era Duck. But yeah, there's Duck. Unfortunately, my only set of twin engines is currently separated as of the making of this video, because here is Douglas. I currently do not own Donald. Douglas's front is dated 2002, the exact year that the Wooden Railway Range was redesigned, and the same year my Henry is from. But his tender has no name on the bottom, and it is dated 1999. Douglas's locomotive half came in that lot with that $11 lot from a thrift store with Henry, and the Trackmaster rolling stock, whereas his tender came from a Facebook Marketplace lot that I got. I'm really happy to have Douglas, and incredibly happy to have him complete at last. If only his twin was here. Here to haul heavy goods trains and clear the snow with him. There's a troublemaker on the rails. It's Devious Diesel. This version is the 2005 reissue of Diesel, which I sought out because I personally believe this is the best version of Diesel's Thomas Wooden Railway model. He's got a very accurate and very angry face. He's got a lot of nice details on the sides. And overall, I think that this is the nicest version of Diesel that they made for the range. I bought this Diesel off of my good friend Leland, or XLHS on YouTube, and he's in really good shape. So, thank you, Leland. We're taking a bit of a break from Sir Topham Hatt's Railway and looking at a few narrow gauge characters, starting with Rusty. I believe I got him at the antique mall that I found Percy and Lights and Sounds James at. This is, let me check the date, a 2001 Rusty. I think he looks pretty nice. He's not as fully detailed as the Tomy Rusty, but for what it is, I think he's a really good model. Oh, and I'm really happy to have him in my collection. I'm a plain engine, and I believe in plain speaking. Speak up! Here's Duncan. This is his... Basically, when he was first introduced in, I believe, 1996 to 2007 model. This model of Duncan is super common, but I kind of think it might be the better Duncan. I'm mostly saying that because I think the original Duncan face looks more like Duncan compared to his 2008 redesign. And it's sad that I think this face is better because the 2008 Duncan adds a lot of detail, and it's just that the face doesn't really look like Duncan to me, and he's got a lamp here in place of his whistle. Like, what? But yeah, Duncan. I believe Leland gave this guy to me when he was giving me a bunch of his old props from Tales from the Tracks, cars and the Mad Bomber coal crane and some other stuff, like a Percy's Promise Railway Series book. So yeah, thank you, Leland. Here's Yukari. And lastly, the Old Warrior, Bertram. This is his original release, or at least his original design, because he has the Tomy markings on his chassis. I do not remember Bertram being released when Tomy was making the Wooden Railway range for all of 2 years, but at the same time, it's cool that he was re-released then, and I'm very happy to have him. Even if his original Wooden Railway model is pretty inaccurate to how he looks, but oh well. Well, makes for a cool model. Alright, so next up, because I don't remember when these two were introduced chronologically, it's Harvey. I got this guy in that grab bag with my backup 2003 Thomas and my 1996 and 1997 Thomases. He's in really good shape, just some edge wear as usual. And all the crane arm stuff still works. Yeah, he's a nice, fun model. Well, I'm happy to have him. And here is Emily. I got her off eBay. Again, decent shape, just some edge wear and normal spots around the corners of the tender and the cab. This is Emily's original release, and I sought this one out because I just like it the most. I don't think any of Emily's faces on the wooden railway models really do her great justice, but Emily's original model is the most iconic one to me, so that's why I sought this one out. I'm very happy to have her in my wooden railway collection. It's me! Here's Rosie. This is the 2013 Mattel Rosie, actually. I was originally going to seek out Rosie's original Learning Curve release, but I found this Rosie alongside a 2003 Birdie in a thrift store, in a little toy grab bag. And honestly, Mattel's Rosie is actually really solid. She's really accurate. And honestly, I kind of think her face looks better than Learning Curve's version. Because Learning Curves is based off the model series, but it just looks kind of weird, you know? But yeah, Rosie's in pretty good shape. Just a bit of edge wear and a former owner initial on the back. And I guess a factory fault here with the top piece of her cab, but oh well. Yeah, Rosie. And here's Stanley. This is my childhood Stanley, and it is the only Stanley I have. He's in pretty good shape, just the typical slight edge wear and all the Sharpie marks and stuff. I really don't have anything much to say about Stanley, I'll be completely honest. Very happy I have him though. Here comes a visitor from afar. It's Hero, the master of the railway. This hero is the Tomy release, and the details on the underside of the tender are basically the only difference as far as I'm aware. He's in pretty good shape, just typical edge wear around the cab and tender, and some paint missing from the top of his lamp, but otherwise he's in really good shape, and I'm really happy to have him. I know some people might prefer Mattel's Hero, the 2013 one, but for some reason I prefer the face on the old one. Maybe it's because it's based on the merchandise reference faces, and those kind of look like the model series. Here's Kasumi. Next up, it's Paxton. This is also the Tomy release. While I do wish that I had the Mattel version, because I think the face looks a lot better on the Mattel version of Paxton, I'm just really happy to have him in my collection. It's another diesel engine for the collection. And he's in really good shape. There's not a whole lot of wear on him. So, yeah, here goes Paxton. Here we have Dart. Dart I got for free from some resale store. Genuinely, not even I myself remember what happened for me to get him for free, but here we are. He's in pretty good shape, all things considered. Just some edge wear around the cab, really. He is the Learning Curve release, as you can tell by his weird-looking face. I'd like to get the Mattel version of him for the better face, but I'm happy I have him. here's Rebecca, the newest Thomas character in my collection. And she's probably gonna stay the newest introduced Thomas character in the collection. Because unfortunately, Wooden Railway got discontinued again. I bought Rebecca brand new off Amazon when the reintroduction range began, or I think a year later, I don't remember. One of the two. So as such, she's still in really good shape. I think the 2022 range had a lot of potential. It's a big shame that it all went to waste. But I'm really happy that I have Rebecca. She's a pretty nice model, and say what you will about Rebecca, but her class is cool, and another yellow engine. Yay! And here we have... What? So this is Coco from Chuggington. The original run Wooden Railway Coco. This was in that grab bag with Harvey and the 3 Thomases and the barrel car. I'm honestly not complaining though. Chuggington is not really as bad as you probably think it would be. It's actually pretty okay. In fact, it's a lot better than pretty okay. It's actually pretty great. But, yeah. I'm hoping to get Brewster Wilson and some accessories like the Roundhouse V, the Chuggington arch sign accessory, and the musical box car. Or maybe it's a passenger car? I can't tell. So I can reenact the infamous Thomas versus Brewster by Leo Convideo, because it's a fun video. But yeah, Coco is so far the only Chuggington character in my collection of Wooden Railway stuff. But yeah, I figured I'd include her instead of leaving her out. So go Coco. Here's some pretty cool looking evil hedgehog. I think the game he's from is kind of bad though. This one is also not Thomas, but it's really cool. It's the Brio Polar Express. This is the push-along Brio Polar Express. They made a battery-powered version too. I got this off eBay for a incredibly reasonable price as opposed to the $50 and upwards people seem to love charging for it, even though it's really not that rare. It's in really good shape, and I'm really happy I have it. I just wish I had the ability to get the passenger cars to go with it. Okay, so now I'm gonna get into my rolling stock. And I'll start with no other than Annie and Clarabelle. These are my childhood Annie and Clarabelle. They also are survivors for my collection. They have Sharpie detail on their ends. Clarabelle's looks particularly weird because I accidentally drew over her mouth. And I put a tail lamp on her, like the Polar Express for some reason. At some point, Annie's wheels got run over. I think you can see. Yeah, if I do that. If I hold her like this, her wheels got run over at some point, so they're kind of shaved down now. But yeah, there's Annie and Clarabelle. Can't really have a Thomas collection without them, honestly. And next up, we have the Express coaches. I do, in fact, have 2 of them. I got this one at the back with the black Sharpie roof from an old friend. They just let me have it alongside a Percy that's no longer in my collection. But yeah, it's very beaten up, as you can tell by the ends and where I've Sharpied red back onto the sides, and the entire reason why the roof is painted with black Sharpie. The second one I got off eBay for like $18 to $20, which is a really great price for these. It's what they should cost, to be completely honest with you. At least in my opinion, it should be, you know, under $30, but oh, what do I know? This one is in a lot better shape than the other one. But honestly, I'm just happy that I have two, because Gordon and the other engines have some nice quality coaches to pull. I have one other Thomas brand coach to show you, and it is Catherine. Yeah, of all the items I have, I for some reason have Catherine on her own without the truck, or Colby. She's a decent item. Her face is designed to look like it's embedded while being a 3D piece, which is a neat touch. This is, I believe, a 2001 release? Or is this 2000? Oh, the wheels say 1999, but it has a name on the bottom, so I'm not sure. She's in decent shape. I think I got her in the grab bag with Harvey and the barrel car and Coco. But yeah, she's cool to have, but for the moment, she's gonna be pulled by Toby because Henrietta, for some reason, costs $30 on eBay, and that's absolutely ridiculous, and I don't own Colby either, so I'm just gonna have to compromise. Here's Agent Stone. Here are two non-Thomas coaches. This orange one, I have no clue. Okay. I have no clue who the manufacturer of this orange one is, but it looks really nice. If I had to give a guess, maybe Imaginarium. It just seems more like a passenger car they'd make. This small blue one at the back is an Orbrium Toys brand passenger car, and it's honestly not that bad. It's kind of nice. And honestly, this passenger car isn't that bad. It's got bright colors, which is indeed a thing, but honestly, it's not that bad. I could probably get away with using it as like a small tramway coach. But yeah, there's two other coaches in my collection. Here are my two baggage cars. This one is from my childhood. You can tell because I drew a face on it. I also wrote explosives truck underneath. Apparently I wanted it to be a boxcar carrying explosives. Freight cars carrying explosives do exist in Thomas and Friends, but I don't know why I wanted it to be this specific car. The other one has not been modified at all. And it is the one that came with my normal 2003 Air James on eBay. So yeah, two baggage cars. I just use them as box cars because, let's be completely honest, that's basically what they are. Here's a nice little box car. It's the Happy Birthday box car, and this one is actually a box car. By Learning Curve's definition. The birthday box car does not have a name on the bottom because you were supposed to use stickers that came with it in the pack with Thomas, the birthday Thomas, to personalize it to whoever was receiving it for their birthday, which is a really nice touch. I think this boxcar looks really nice. It just looks so happy and festive and celebratory. It's just a really nice item, and it honestly makes me want to get another one and then a bunch of the actual boxcars. Here is the short Sodor mail car from 2006. This item was involved in the lead paint crisis, and therefore was recalled. Problem is that I have no clue whether or not this one is the lead paint one or the one that was reissued without it. You're supposed to be able to tell by the color of the windows, but I can't really tell if they're gray or blue, so yeah. Regardless of it being a part of the lead paint crisis, I'm very happy to have it. I believe I got it at a thrift store, so I didn't pay that much for it. I'm very happy to have at least one Soda Mail car in my collection. It's time for some trouble. As here we have my 3 troublesome trucks. This one I got at the Antique Mall. Oh, this is from the original Giggling Troublesome Trucks pack. It's supposed to wobble from side to side as it rolls along. It doesn't really seem to want to do it right now, though, which is a little sad. But yeah, it's really nice. It looks amazing. It's quality. I love it. Next. Okay, then. The next one is the original version of Scruffy. I found this at a thrift store, and they let me have it for free because it was not in a grab bag and had no price tag. And I somehow made that rhyme. I was not intending for that. He is incredibly beaten up, but honestly, with Scruffy, that gives him a lot of character, so I'm not even complaining. He looks pretty cool. And then lastly, we have the 2017 Scruffy with his dynamite cargo, which, boom. This was given to me by Leland alongside Duncan. So thank you, Leland. This is a really nice one to have. I know some people may not be a fan of the fact that it's all plastic, but I think the exploding dynamite thing is really fun with this item. And it being completely hollow on the inside means that you can load this version of Scruffy up with whatever kind of cargo you want. You could load him up with aquarium rocks for all you care, and he would look really, really good carrying them. So yeah, those are my 3 troublesome trucks. I hope to get more at some point, because you can't really have enough of them, can you? Here's Futaba. So now we'll go through my 2 tankers. First, we have the Sodor Fuel Tanker. I bought this one on eBay, and this is a factory error item, actually. It's got this black paint smudge on the back side of the tanker, where someone accidentally he put their finger on the paint and then on the item. And then on this side, the Sodor Fuel text and logos are just drooping down to the bottom of the tank. But regardless, I'm really happy to have the fuel tanker in my collection. And here's the other... So this is a bootleg Tidmouth milk tanker that I got at the Antique Mall. Why? Because I thought it would be funny if I actually owned a bootleg Thomas Wooden Railway item. But it's kind of like really bad. Like even just comparing the fuel tanker to the milk tanker, like what's going on? The magnet is not even attached correctly here. Like, I think my idea behind this was, oh, I could set this on fire in like a remake of a reenactment of Thomas Percy and Old Slow Coach or something, but I don't know. I genuinely don't know why I own this bootleg milk tanker, but it at least means I have 2 tankers in my collection at the moment, so I guess that's something. Now we're just going to go through some of my other rolling stock that I have. Here is the barrel car that I've mentioned a few times already. I do not currently have any barrels for it to carry, so it's kind of just an oddly shaped car. I'm going to have to get some barrels for it so it can be really useful. Here we have 2 aquarium cars. They are both carrying sharks. One of them is, like, I guess a standard shark, and the other one is a hammerhead shark. There you go. Now you see it. This one is Learning Curve's 2nd iteration, and this is Mattel's iteration, which lights up, which is honestly really cool. I kind of want the squid car to go with it. I want the squid cars for both sets, so I can have both parts of the pack. But yeah, I know a lot of people complain about the aquarium cars because they are rather unrealistic, but Come on, they're a cool, fun little piece. Let the merchandise have fun, alright? Here's some cars from the quarries. We have the Boulder car and the complete Gold Prospectors Cars 2-pack. The Boulder car is very well used, but it's still here and it still works, so that's what matters. I got it from an old neighbor that I used to live by. The open wagon carrying gold part of the Gold Prospectors 2-pack, which is this part, I believe I got it at the thrift store that I got Bertram at when I got Bertram and the Sodor Line Caboose and 94 Thomas. And I think that mail car. I don't remember fully, honestly. And then the gold sifting car that goes with it, I believe I got at the Antique Mall in a small grab bag of Thomas Wooden Railway stuff, which included that troublesome truck carrying stone. So yeah, these are really nice. I honestly kind of want more of the Boulder and Gold cars, so I can make nice long trains of them and just have engines carrying stone from a quarry to the docks or a building site. Yo, it's supersonic! Here's my one and only cargo car. This is the only cargo car that survived my childhood, and the crate of butter is the only cargo piece that has survived my childhood. Well, of this kind of cargo anyway. There is one other piece of cargo that has survived. I'm happy I have at least one cargo car, as these are iconic for the Thomas Wooden Railway, but all the same, I do kind of wish that I had some more. Maybe I'll get a blue one and put the Yumsters cargo in it, who knows. Here's a pretty special piece of rolling stock to me. This is the Day Out with Thomas 2006 coal car. The 2006 Come Ride the Rails tour was the first Day Out with Thomas event that I ever attended, so even though I didn't get this back in the day, because I was like a year old by then, you know, it's really cool that I have this, and it honestly means a lot to me, having the Day Out with Thomas Wooden Railway piece from the first year that I went to Day Out with Thomas. Like with the Sodor mail van I have no clue if the red paint does contain lead, and I do not want to test that unless I, get it done at like a professional testing lab or something. But it's still really cool to have nonetheless. I do not have a coal load for it, but I have this flour load that's left over from my childhood when I owned the Mr. Jolly's Cookie Factory, the 5-pack of freight cars. So it has something to carry around, which is really cool. This one is not a Thomas item, but it is a very cool item. It is the Brio log car with 3 magnetic logs. This is just a really cool piece. It's a really nice flat car, and it's also got logs to carry. It's perfect for stuff like, oh, I have it the wrong way around. It's perfect for stuff like Henry's Forest, for example. And it's just a really nice piece. I honestly want to get a couple more of them just because they're really high quality, and I think they're a really helpful piece of rolling stock for a wooden railway. And last but not least, on this journey through rolling stock, we have a Sodor Line Caboose. I do own a winter caboose, but I also don't know where that is. I will put up a photo of it on screen so you can see that I own it, because I do own it, I just don't know where it is at the time of recording this. But yeah, this is also marked Tomy. I surprisingly have a lot of items from their run in the Thomas Wooden Railway, which is odd. Again, Sharpie buffer detailing, because, yeah, it's in pretty good shape. The only problem is that it's the only Soda caboose in my collection, and until I can find where I put the winter caboose, it's the only one in my collection. I need to get more of them. Hopefully, I'll be able to get the Day Out with Thomas Soda caboose. Take a look at my 3 road... So here we are to take a look at my road vehicles, and I did indeed switch the track over to the roadway side. So I'll actually cover these in the order that I got them in. So first up is the Spotlight Lorry. Yes, I'm being serious. And yes, it still works, kind of. I think me unscrewing the battery cover at the back to look into replacing the batteries messed up how the button works, but it does still work. I got this at a thrift store, I think. I don't remember. It's been too long. It's in decent shape, and it still works properly. And it might be a little unrealistic, but I could see something like this working in real life. I have just a little truck lorry that has some lights on it for, like, probably construction purposes and such. So, yeah. Here we got the Mach 5. Here's Bulgy. I got him, I believe, at the Antique Mall. He's really nice. He's in pretty good shape. And he's just a nice model. I don't really have a whole lot to say about him, other than I'm kind of shocked Wooden Railway never did vegetable stand Bulgy, but here we are. Here we got Hatsune Miku. And last but not least with my road vehicles is Birdie, the 2002 version. I know a lot of people prefer the 90s version because he has visible passengers in the windows, but honestly, I don't mind the fact that they're not here on the 2002 Birdie, and I think his face is quite a bit better than the old one. Birdie is in pretty good shape, just a marker mark on his roof and a bit of edge wear, and I think a little chip taken out of his nose, but otherwise, Birdie's doing really well. So now it's time for the destinations in my collection, and after that we'll briefly go over my track and accessories. So with destinations, I'll start with this non-Thomas suspension bridge. I don't know what company made it, I'll be honest. It's a really nice looking piece though. It does have a light and sound feature, but it's that really annoying generic train sound chip that plays every single time a train rolls over that particular spot on the bridge in the center. And there's no batteries in it because it's really annoying and I don't like it. But other than that, it's a really nice piece, and I honestly do kind of want to try and use it more. And then the other destination that I have that isn't a Thomas brand piece is this tunnel from the Brio Polar Express train set. I got this from that same neighbor that I got the Boulder car from. And it's a really nice piece. It is plastic, but it genuinely is a really nice piece. You can put track through, and you can also put track over top because it goes up to the same height as a standard wooden railway riser, so you could actually have it act as a bridge as well, which is really cool. So as for my Thomas destinations, I have 1 and 2 conductor sheds. And this one is Clickety Clack Track and this one is Traction Rail. I got this one first, I think at a thrift store, and I got this one off of Facebook Marketplace, and it has nails through the main piece of wood, so I assume it used to be part of a display table. And then I have the Lights and Sound Signal House, which does work. I'm not turning the sound feature on right now, but it all still works, and even if it's an incredibly common piece, it's a really nice piece. This is an incredibly random destination, and I'm putting it on its side so it will mostly fit in frame, but it's this really tall track riser piece from, I believe, the Start Your Engines race set. I got this at a thrift store, and it's the only piece to that set that I have, so it's kind of useless to me right now, but it looks cool. You can't have Thomas and Friends without the windmill. This windmill I bought from Leland when he was selling off his wooden railway stuff, so thank you, Leland. This is a really nice piece. I actually have a spare of the top half of the windmill that I got at a thrift store, so I need to find another lower section, the base, to go with it. Here's a pretty small and simple destination. This is the railway crossing from the traction rail era, so 2002, around there. It's a really nice piece. Mine doesn't have any decals on the stop sign, and it's missing one, but it's in nice shape otherwise, and I'm really happy to have it. I have 1 and 2 Sodor Bay bridges. I got these on eBay I got them on eBay on their own for a reasonable price. One of them, this one at the front here, is missing the little removable ledge piece for connecting it directly to ascending track, so I either have to use the one at the back or I have to pair them up together when building a layout, but I don't mind that because they look really cool paired up together like that. Here is the Works Engine Repair Shop. This is, in fact, the traction rail version. You may notice a pattern here. I prefer traction rail to Clickety Clack Track myself. Obviously, to each their own, but, you know. The Works is in pretty good shape, all things considered. Nothing's broken off of it. All the decals are still on it. But I only have one roof piece for it, so I'm going to have to try and find another one. A bit of a diversion from most of the destinations I have, but I have the Sodor Scrub and Shine for the road vehicles. This is actually a roadway destination because there's no track on it. All of the sound features still work. Well, but I probably need to replace those batteries. I got this at that thrift store for $11 with Henry Douglas's Locomotive Half, the Engine Friends DVD, and the Trackmaster rolling stock. So yeah, it's really cool to have this. Here's a destination so grand and big that I have to move the trees out of the backdrop. It's Tidmouth Sheds. I believe this is the Learning Curve release of Tidmouth Sheds with a Learning Curve era 5-way switch track. I'm not sure. I only have a 5-way switch at the moment. I really need to find a turntable, but people refuse to charge less than $30 for the turntable, which is absolutely ludicrous. I don't understand how you can charge that much for the turntable when it was released for literally basically the entire lifespan of the original Thomas Wooden Railway range, but okay then. Tin Mist Sheds and the 5-way switch are in really great shape, and I'm really happy to have them. Here is the Mountain Tunnel. I got this off eBay in 2 parts. I got a extra hill piece and the center core piece of the mountain tunnel from one lot, and I got the extra 2 hill pieces from a different eBay listing. They were both really decent. They were both really cheap prices. Everything's in pretty decent shape, minus a little abuse on the hilly parts of the hills and some sticker wear on the centerpiece, but this is an awesome piece. It's the harder to get traction rail version, and I'm really happy I have it. And last but not least on my destinations list is Knapford Station. This is the 2013 Mattel version. The lights at the front still work. It is missing the roofs, but I can always buy 3D printed replacements, which is fine with me. I'm really happy to finally have a station in my collection, and really happy that the first one in my collection is Knapford Station. I would like to mention that I also own the, I believe, 2002 edition of the Roundhouse building, but it is currently in storage right here in the garage, so this is the best view you're gonna get of it right now. Alright, here we go with my accessories and track, and first I will talk about my 3 figures. 1 Sir Topham hat, 2 Sir Topham hats, and this, not Thomas brand, girl figure. I believe it's an Imaginarium piece, but I'm not sure. I got the girl figure, who only has printing on one side for some reason, with that grab bag with Harvey and the 3 Thomases and Coco. This Sir Topham hat here is the first one that I got off eBay, and I got him in a bundle with some of my other accessories. I like this one more because the printing or the paint on him is more clear and easy to see, and I can tell the difference between the 2 of them by that, and this one has a code on the bottom alongside the copyright date. This one is the second one that I got, and this is the one that I got with Knapford Station off eBay. It does not have a code on the bottom, and the painting is a little less crisp than the, I suppose, newer version of him. But yeah, those are my 3 figures so far. Next I have 1, 2, 3 signals that can stand up on their own, and this 4th one that doesn't have a base. I got these in a bundle together on eBay for a decent price. None of the ones that have a base that they can use have stickers on them anymore. I believe one of them used to have the red signal sticker decal on one side, but it fell off. So now only this signal with the white and black decals has any detailing on it, and it's the one that doesn't have a base to go into. But I'm very happy to have some signals. These are always important for a railway. I have 5 trees in my collection. I have these 2 pine trees, a green maple tree, a orange maple tree, and this red maple tree. I got these in a little bundle on eBay with my first Sir Topham hat figure. And I'm really happy to have some tree accessories. The maple trees are supposed to have bases. I did not receive them, but I could always, make something myself if I wanted to, or just get some more trees, which I honestly want to do. So, yeah, trees. They're very nice to have in the collection, and the 2 colored maple trees add a lot of life. Here's a random Sodor Shipping Company cargo piece. I do not know what this came with, personally, but it's another cargo piece, and it's nice to have. Here are my signs in the collection, and I'll start with the ones that I only have one of. I have a singular one-way sign, a singular yield sign, and a singular school sign. These are really nice ones to have, especially the roadway ones, because those are useful in many situations. The school one is nice to have too, because there are schools on the island of Sodor. All of these have a 2001 date on them, and for some reason, probably because the only other color on the yield sign is red, the copyright text on the yield sign is actually in red, as opposed to black, like every other sign. But yeah, very nice. Happy to have them. Then I have 1, 2, 3 stop signs. This one I believe is the oldest, as the copyright date is not on the bottom. It's actually at the bottom of one side of the sign, and it's painted on in white. Whereas this stop sign does not have copyright text on either side, and it instead has it on the bottom, and it also reads 2007 and has codes in RC2, and it's also done in black. This one is obviously the newest stop sign I have, as it does not use the stop text, and instead just uses a general no symbol. It has no date on the bottom, but it is the Mattel version of the stop sign, and it honestly just looks pretty bad, in my opinion, but it's good to have them all. But it's still nice to have all the variants. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 railroad crossing signs, and I don't understand this. This one is an older variant. The next 3 are newer variants with the copyright at the bottom. And then this one is the latest variant. Here, let me get it in proper frame. And then the one in front is the newest variant because it is not painted all the way. This is the Mattel version. I don't know why I have so many railway crossing signs, but I do. So that's a thing, I suppose. And then 3 more, I guess they're not really accessories, but I don't really have a specific category for them either. I have 2 pamphlets and this Thomas character card from around 2002. I don't remember how I got this. I assume I got this with my childhood Thomas, but I could be wrong. This pamphlet here is the 2001 pamphlet, as we can tell by stuff like the bridge and tunnel set and the lift and load set being brand new, and just the general style. I got this with my graded track risers, and the second one that I have is the 2006 pamphlet. And if I open it up, we'll see new for 2006. So Thomas and James were, I guess, released in 2006, the Lights and Sounds ones. That's interesting. But yeah, stuff like that, and the Calling All Engines pack up there. Battery-powered Salty was new this year, apparently. But yeah, the pamphlets are really fun to look back on, and I'm happy to have at least one character card. Alright, now it's time for track. Are you ready? I'm gonna do my best to speed through this. 4 2-inch straight tracks. These are all traction rail. 4 3-inch straight tracks. Once again, traction rail. 5 regular 4-inch straight tracks that are also all traction rail. And I just knocked them all over. 1 4-inch traction rail straight piece with no road on the bottom and magnets on the side. I believe this goes to the yellow water tower, but I'm not too sure. The track crossing piece, which is 2 4-inch straight tracks in one, and it is a track crossing. 5, 10, 15, 16 6-inch straight tracks. These are incredibly useful in layouts, so I'm very happy to have such a large count of this kind of straight track. 4 8-inch straight track pieces. I have 1 normal traction rail piece, 2 clickety-clack track pieces, and then I have the 60th anniversary gold track piece, which I got at the antique mall for, I believe, less than what it was going for on eBay at the time. These are also super helpful when making layouts, so I'm glad I have 4 of them. 8 6.5-inch curved track. I need more Thomas brand curved track, as these are the only 6.5-inch curves that I own for the Thomas brand track. But it does mean that I can make a full circle with them. And I have just 2 3.5-inch curved tracks for Thomas brand track. Again, I need more curved track. I have 1 male adapter for Thomas brand. I need a lot more track adapter pieces that are Thomas brand track, but I at least have 1. I have 2 pieces of ascending track which are used for going to new heights on the railway. I need more of these, but I'm happy that I have 2. I have 2 male and 2 female buffer stop pieces. I'm very happy to have more than just a single set of buffers, but I'm starting to realize that I still need to get more buffer stops, because now that I have Knapford Station, I need to be able to end the innermost tracks, platforms 2 and 3, in buffers, while still being able to use more of this kind of buffer in other spots, like a yard or a siding. So yeah, I'll more than likely get more buffers in the future, but for now, I'm happy that I have 4. I have a single 3.5-inch curved switch. I believe this is the male-female version. This is a clickety-clack item, and then I have 1 6.5-inch curved switch of the same connection types, and I have the inverse of it as a 6.5-inch curved switch. I definitely need a lot more switch track, because right now I only have these 3 Thomas brand curved switch tracks. I have 4 different V switch tracks, 2 Y switch tracks, a T switch, 1 3-way switch, 1 4-way switch, and a generic version of the 3.5-inch curved switch with the same connector types. So I definitely need more switch tracks, but I'm happy to have what I do. Here's this X crossing piece. This is 2 6-inch track pieces crossing over each other. And this is a useful piece if, say, you have a line that's coming in at an angle and needs to turn in to match the other line. You can use this crossing piece for that. It's a very helpful piece, and I'm glad I have one. I have 2 Thomas brand V switches. These are officially known as the Special Engine Shed Switch Track. I have 1 traction rail version and 1 clickety-clack track version. And these are basically required to use destinations such as the Works and Knapford Station, because these switch tracks will combine or converge the two lines present in these destinations into one, so you can continue your adventures. And that's why I need at least one more for Knapford Station, but more than likely at some point I'll end up having at least 5. 1 for the Works and 4 for Knapford. Alright, and here's all a non-Thomas track. This is a track that could come from a variety of brands. Imaginarium, Brio, IKEA, all sorts. I have 8, not quite 8-inch straight tracks, as these are actually usually just a little bit longer than a Thomas brand 8-inch straight track. But they are very useful when making layouts because it's just more straight track, and it allows me to save on some of the Thomas brand stuff that I have. They're very helpful. I have 6 of these almost 6-inch straight track pieces, because often these pieces are a tad bit shorter than a actual Thomas brand 6-inch straight track piece. If I bring one in here and put it on top, you'll see that it doesn't quite match up. But like with the other off-brand straight track pieces, these are still good to have, because as you always need straight track when building a railway. I have one not quite 3-inch but not quite 4-inch straight track that is a not Thomas piece. It's a bit too long to match with a 3-inch straight track piece, but it's not long enough to match with a 4-inch straight track piece. It is, however, a rather handy piece of track to get out of some weird track length situations when using other off-brand track, or just when building a layout in general. I have 2 generic track Y switches. These are both, I believe, male, female types. These Y switches are really helpful. I just haven't really made any layouts that use them yet. I've just never particularly had a need for them in my layouts, really. But I know that they are incredibly helpful pieces, so they are going to stick around. I have this generic 3.5-inch curved switch, and it doesn't actually fully line up lengthwise with the Thomas brand one, as you can see here. It's just a little bit too long to match up with the actual Thomas version of it. And if I lay the Thomas version over top, you can see that the track connection points don't exactly line up on this end either, but it's always great to have another switch track. I have 7 generic 3.5-inch curved tracks, and these are helpful because as my collection has gotten larger over time, I've needed more curved track to make full circuits on layouts with more than one track going around. So these are very helpful. I also have 7 generic 6.5-inch curved tracks, and just like with the generic 3.5-inch curved tracks, these are incredibly helpful for making layouts, as like I said, as my collection has gotten larger over time, I've started to need more curved rails just as much as I need more straight rails in order to make full circuits on layouts. I have 2 generic male-male adapters and 2 generic female-female adapters. I got these right after I got the mountain tunnel because I realized that I didn't actually have any track adapter pieces, and my layouts would not connect with the female-female ends on all 3 tiers of the mountain tunnel. So I got those generic track adapters and the single Thomas brand one that I have to solve any track connection problems. Here is the off-brand T-switch in my collection, and it's different to a Thomas brand T-switch because it actually has a male connector at one end as opposed to all ends being a female connection. I feel like this is rather useful, but also just a little bit awkward because if you need a female connection on that end, you have to go ahead and use a female-female adapter piece, which could potentially throw off your track plan. But the T-switches are always helpful, and I'm happy to have one. Here are 2 V-switches from IKEA. And I remember that these are IKEA brand ones because I bought them at IKEA myself. These are different to the Thomas brand ones in several ways, as one, they always come in a pair of both track connection types. You've got a male-male-female and a female-female-male. Whereas the Thomas brand ones are always all male track connections. The Thomas brand ones are also different because if I lay the IKEA brand one over top the Thomas brand one, the IKEA one is shorter and it does not, the 2 split tracks do not go out as far as the Thomas brand one, meaning that the IKEA split tracks or V-switches are not compatible with the Thomas destinations, which is why I specifically had to seek out the special engine shed switches. But these IKEA V-switches are still really great for making passing sidings and yards, and just double track sections of layouts that go back to being a single track. So I'm very happy to have them, and I honestly wish I could go to an IKEA sometime soon and get another pack because these are really helpful. A very quick one, I have 1 extra piece of ascending track. This is a generic piece, but it works just as well as the Thomas brand ones. The only problem is that I only have 1, and typically you kind of need 2 pieces of ascending track for making inclines and declines. And here are my last track pieces. Here is the 3-way switch track. I have no clue what company made this piece, but it is an incredibly useful piece of track. I usually use this in a layout to have 1 track continue along the main line, 1 track go into the work shed, and 1 track go to Tidmouth sheds. But it's also useful for just having your railway go in 3 different directions and then meet back up at some point. I know that there's a version that is male-male-male-female connections as opposed to the female-female-female-male connections, and I need to get a hold of that one because it would be equally as useful, and it would mean that I could have the 3 split tracks at one end connect to a matching 3-way switch at another end. But yeah, this is an incredibly helpful piece, and this one was given to me by Leland, so thank you. And here's a kind of odd piece. This is a 4-way switch. It is kind of shaped like a little star in the night sky, and it goes 4 different directions. If I bring in Thomas and some extra pieces of track, Thomas can either go straight ahead in both directions, or he can turn this way, or he can turn that way, or he can turn that way, and this way, and in all the directions that the switch goes. So basically, you could use this as one big turnaround track if you really needed to. And that's why, even if I think it's a kind of weird piece of track, and maybe not the most realistic piece, it's an incredibly helpful piece for the wooden railway, because sometimes you may not have a turntable, or you might just end up with a layout where you need the tracks to converge like this, and this four-way switch piece is actually really, really helpful for that. So I'm very glad I have it. And this piece of track, this four-way switch track, was another one that was given to me by Leland. So thank you so much, man. You're awesome. And lastly, I will mention my risers. I have 6 normal risers. These are, I believe, all Thomas brand ones. 5 of them, these 5, are perfectly fine, but this 6th one has one of the ledges for keeping the track in place broken off. So I'm definitely going to have to replace it and get more risers in general, because these are always useful. But that's not my only set of risers, for I own the complete set of graded risers from the Thomas Wooden Railway. And I do mean complete. There's the box, complete with the original tissue paper. So yeah, very much a complete set of graded track risers. All 24 risers are here. It's got the box, which I'll actually move the risers aside for a moment so we can view the box. It's got the box, which is a little beaten up and sun-faded, but I'm just really happy to have the box. And like I said, the box still has its original tissue paper and little cardboard insert for the top. And it still came with the 2001 pamphlet that it originally came with. So, yeah. This was a really nice find on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm very glad that I grabbed it. It was only $15, but the seller offered to give me some extra wooden railway stuff that they had for an extra $5. So I paid them the extra $5, and now I have even more cool stuff in my collection. So yeah, I'm very happy to have the graded track risers. They're very helpful, as the back of the box illustrates. They are for making more gradual inclines and declines in a railway as opposed to a standard riser and ascending track. Because using a riser and ascending track is a very sudden change either way, whereas the graded track risers give you a more manageable and realistic change in elevation. Thomas here on the front track, it's a very gradual track. It's a very gradual slope down to the ground, whereas Rosie here on the back track, it's very steep. So the graded track risers are most definitely a very helpful piece, and I am incredibly glad that I have them. And that brings us to the end of my Thomas Wooden Railway collection as of 2025. I thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully this collection will grow and I can use it in videos more, and maybe there'll be another collection video sometime. Be sure to check out my other stuff here on my channel. I do other Thomas things, including my very own multi-fandom fan series, Z-Man and Friends, alongside Thomas and Friends remakes, and in my own retro-style custom stories with the wooden railway trains. I also do a lot of video game stuff if you're into that sort of thing, including Sonic the Hedgehog and Persona and Super Mario, and hopefully more to come. So yeah, that's all I have for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you around.